Okay, so now we come to the last part of our chapter plant life, that is the seed germination. We are going to study about that. Okay, so let's see what is the meaning of seed germination. Okay, so see what is written in your book. The process by which the dormant or inactive embryo inside the seed becomes active and begins to grow into a new plant is called germination. So you see here, this is the seed, right? So it is in an inactive state right now. Okay, so the embryo which is present there inside this seed, when it becomes active and starts growing into a new plant, that entire process is called germination. Can you see here in this picture, in this small animated video, that from an inactive embryo which is present inside the seed, yes, it has become active due to the watering of the seed, due to the sunlight, due to the sufficient amount of air. Okay, so the environment was quite conducive for this dormant embryo inside the seed to become active, and then it develops into a new plant. Okay, and that is called as the germination. Now, during germination, the seeds absorb water and swells up, and the seed coat becomes soft and bursts open. Okay, so during this germination, I told you, so water will be required, sunlight will be required, and then sufficient amount of temperature will be required, wind will be required. Okay, so when all this thing falls into this seed, then what happens is that this seed swells up by taking the water, and then the seed coat which was present here, outer covering of the seed, it becomes soft and it falls off. Okay, as a result, what is going to happen is that the radicle, didn't I tell you that from radicle roots come out? Okay, so the radicle, that it goes downward and becomes the root, primary root, and the plumule, it goes upward and becomes the shoot. Okay, plumule. Understood? Please rewatch the video of the seed if you cannot understand this one. Okay, now this germination can be of two types. Okay, germination can be of two types. What are they? They are the epigeal germination and the hypogel germination. Let's see. What is it? Epigeal germination. The word epi means upper. Okay, remember this one, upper. What is your book trying to tell you? This type of germination is usually seen in dicot seeds like beans. Okay, in such seeds, the cotyledons are pushed above the ground, become green, and start to photosynthesize. So you see, this is the seed. Okay, and what is happening is that the cotyledons, they are pushed above the ground. Can you see? This is the cotyledon, this is the cotyledon, it is pushed above the ground. Okay, then what happens is that it starts to become green in color and it becomes a leaf, and thus what happens, the outer covering of the cotyledon, it falls off, and this green leaf then starts to photosynthesize. That means it starts to prepare the food. So epigeal germination is where the cotyledon, they are pushed above the ground. Okay, and then that cotyledon then transforms into a leaf, and thus photosynthesis takes place. Understood? Now in terms of hypogel germination, so if epigeal is upper, hypogel will be lower, right? So what happens, this type of germination is usually seen in monocot seeds like wheat, maize, rice, and some dicot seeds also. So in such seeds, the cotyledon remains under the ground. You see, this is the cotyledon, this is the cotyledon here, it is under the ground, isn't it? It is very clearly visible in this picture, remains under the ground, and the food stored in it is used for the growth of the plant. And so by staying under the ground, it provides the food. We had studied that cotyledons, they store the food for the new embryo and the plant. So from here they provide the nutrition, and thus the plumule goes into the shoot system and the radicle grows into the root system. Okay, so we understood this one, that what is seed germination, that is from a dormant or inactive embryo which is present inside the seed. When they get sufficient amount of water, sunlight, temperature, wind, okay, they transform in, they become active and thus grow into a new plant, and that process is called germination. We have two types of germination, epigeal and hypogeal. Epi word means upper, that means the cotyledons, they are pushed above the ground, and then the layer of this cotyledon falls off and it transforms into a leaf, and this leaf starts to photosynthesize. Coming to the point of hypogeal, so if epi word is upper, hypo will be lower. So we can see that this cotyledon, it stays below the surface of the ground, and this cotyledon provides all the food and nutrition to the new plants, and from here the plumule, okay, that develops into the shoot system, and the radicle that develops into the root system. And so with this we come to the end of this chapter. Well, before we sign off, let us just recall once again that what all things we have studied related to the plant life. Okay, so first and foremost, what did we study? Plant life. We studied about the leaf. Under the leaf, what have we studied? We have studied the venation, then we have studied about the types of leaves, okay, simple and compound. Then we have studied about arrangement of leaves, okay, arrangement of leaves are what? Opposite, whorled, then alternate, okay. Then we have studied about what are the functions of the leaf, functions of a leaf, okay, that is photosynthesis, gaseous exchange, transpiration, okay. Then we have studied about various leaf modifications, right, that is tendrils, then comes your spines, then comes your scaly leaves of the onion, then pitcher plant, Venus flytrap, bladderwort, in this way. Then we have studied also about bryophyllum, vegetative propagation, how a leaf gets modified and then gives rise to new roots and shoots right from the margin of the leaf, okay. Then we have studied, so this was all about leaf. Then we have studied about flower. Flower has four parts, that is, they are the calyx, corolla, the male part which is the androecium, okay, the female part that is the gynoecium, okay. And then this androecium is also called as the stamen, gynoecium is also called the pistil or carpel, right. Then what else did we study? Then we have studied about pollination, okay. Pollination we have studied. There are two types of pollination, self and cross pollination. Then we have studied how the pollen grains are dispersed from one place to another. Then we have studied about fertilization, okay, fertilization of the male and the female gametes together. Then we have studied about seeds, right, we have studied about, after fertilization we have studied about fruits. Under fruits we have seen that about epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp, okay, overall is a pericarp. And then we have studied about seed, and we have studied about the plumule, radicle, cotyledons, monocots, dicots under this. Then also we have studied that how seeds are dispersed, just like how pollen grains are dispersed. And last but not the least, we have studied how does the seed germinate. Seed germination we have studied. So overall you can see that you have studied a lot about the plants. Now what is your duty? Your duty is to keep rewatching these videos, study from your book, make notes from whatever I have taught in all these videos related to plant life, and whatever doubts you have, obviously we are going to discuss in the live class, okay. So anyway, bye, take care, happy learning.